Good morning and welcome to Ag Talking Raw, where we talk raw about agriculture and other things that are on my mind. Yes, okay, so what's going on today in the world of agriculture? Well, I don't really know. We've had rain, and I've just been ignoring everything and everyone, and I just don't give a damn. Well, that's not entirely true. What I've been doing here in the last couple of days is looking at seed corn for next year. Yes, Pioneer seed corn. Pioneer grown for the East seed corn. I know it's grown all over the world because I was in the Philippines and I saw Pioneer seed corn. So what do you look for in a variety of corn when you purchase your seed? I know what I look for, and I will explain to you what I look for when I look for a variety of corn. There's different reasons for different things. We don't really have a problem with leaf blight and these other rot issues that some people do have, because I believe a lot of that stuff is but is directly attributed to irrigation and things like that. And we are on dry land. So dry land seed corn, you kind of really have to pick and choose, and there's so many different variables in picking a variety of corn. Your region. So when you go to, say, the Pioneer website and you look at it and you're like, what am I looking for? You're going to look for your region. Regional weather patterns dictate what corn varieties grow best in that area. So that's like basic number one thing. Then you have to look at your genetics. The genetics are your GMOs, your genetically modified organisms, or your bred into insect control, and your chemical herbicide tolerances like Roundup Ready or Liberty Link. Now, years ago, I used to use Liberty Link corn. When Liberty Link was Liberty Link. You used Liberty. It was before Ignite was a thing, and it was Liberty. So the herbicide cost a little bit more than, say, Roundup, and I think that's why Roundup got more traction than Liberty did. But Liberty gets everything except for the crop that you're growing. I've never heard of anybody saying, hey, I've got Liberty or Ignite tolerant weeds. I've never heard it. So years ago when we were growing corn, soybeans, wheat, barley, rye, alfalfa and stuff like that, it was not always, but we used to grow conventional soybeans. And the reason we grew conventional soybeans was because tech fees, we didn't really want to pay for tech fees. It was kind of silly. And there was a yield lag of 3 to 5 bushels in this region or this area. So with yield lag at that time, it was like, well, do I really want to lose 3 to 5 bushels in yield lag? Or do I just want to go the conventional route and, use conventional route and buy some soybeans and use bin run beans on the rest of it, which we would do. We actually did a blending so that we were getting this like Heinz 57 mix, and it worked really well for a lot of years. We also used, the Heinz 57. We had excellent luck with that. We had higher yields than most of the Roundup Ready guys. But when you had a recovery herbicide program like Reflex and things like that for ragweed and some foxtail that was encroaching in the fields, it was a bit of a pain in the ass, time consuming, and that was eventually what pushed us to Roundup Ready soybeans. Roundup Ready soybeans for us was about 5 years later than everyone else. And we really didn't go on to the Roundup Ready corn until much later. Because, you see, Liberty herbicide had been bought and sold, developed and sold many times. And then Monsanto actually bought, was it DeKalb? DeKalb seed Monsanto bought. So when Monsanto bought DeKalb, DeKalb was working directly with Aventis, or I believe DuPont, in the development of the Liberty Link gene. or resistant corn, seed corn. So Liberty Link really kind of went off the map on a seed corn, and that's what pushed us into Roundup Ready corn. So we would do Roundup Ready soybeans, Liberty corn. No mare's tail, no giant ragweed, no tolerant weeds, because they were never given the opportunity to evolve into those resistant weeds. And of course, later when Roundup Ready or Liberty Link corn was gone, and we couldn't get it for a couple of years, or I think it was regional. We couldn't get it in this region or whatever the hell it was. We just went to Roundup Ready, and then we started getting the Roundup resistant mare's tail and the Roundup resistant ragweed and other cocklebur that just couldn't get smoked by the Roundup. Cocklebur is a problem here. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we get burnt cucumber, which we never ever had before. I think that came in bags of seed. The tech fees, and then we couldn't do bin run soybeans anymore. We had to purchase the soybeans from whoever had we had to pay the Monsanto fee and sign our names to those lovely agreements that we wouldn't save our seed. So, in essence, it kind of sucked, but we did it, and we did notice a yield reduction on the East Coast because, let's face it, the Midwest is where the grain is grown, and the East Coast or the East is like an afterthought. Why do we want to develop and grow higher yielding soybeans for the East Coast when you can just do the conventional stuff? And years ago, it was nothing for us to get 60, 70, 80 bushel beans. Old Williams varieties, Asgros, those are really good conventional soybeans, and now they're all but gone. So I will not be growing soybeans again until I can definitely see the advantages to higher yielding soybeans and dead deer, which I'm not seeing the deer that we did see in the past. So I'm thinking that maybe there is something that's getting them. I know that there were some guys that were saying, oh yeah, One Only Farmer is going to be growing corn. Now we're going to hear him bitch about shooting deer. No, I'm not going to. And that brings me to these varieties of corn. Okay, so for me, and I can explain this to you, I know a lot of guys are going to say, oh, you're crazy, you're going to have problems. Well, I'm not going to have problems because I've done this before. This is not my first trip to the rodeo. I mean, I've run combines and corn planters and things like that. So I've chosen Pioneer Seed, which is a DuPont company, to purchase my seed from. I'll probably buy some Hubner seed too also. I just have to find a Pioneer dealer, which I think I know who he is. I just have to get in contact with him. But I'm going to show you a piece of paper here, which gives us, I'm hoping you can see this, but it'll give you there's a chart here, and it says it's through 1 to 9. Where is it? It should be, where the heck is it? Well, anyway, where is it? Right here. 1 to 9 in a scale, and then you go to the seed variety charts and you choose the ones that suit your needs the best. So, because I'm on the East and I'm in New Jersey, we can plant full season corn right up to 120 days. 120-day corn really should be planted in the first week of May, last week of April, if your ground is correct. But for the most part, you can get away with full season, 115, what they would call a full season corn at 112 to 115 day corn here. You can plant that right up till June, and it will mature. It will mature before frost, and the stalks may be green yet, but the ears are turning down and it's drying down because relative maturity goes on degree days. So if it's hot and sunny, you get those hot degree days, your corn will advance and grow according to the degree days. Now, if you get a cool summer, 100-day corn may not mature for 110 days, and that's just the way it is. It needs to make up those degrees, degree days. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you've never grown corn before. All right, so my target is from 102 days to 116 days. I believe that's what I chose. Yes, I did choose varieties from 102 days 113 days, 114 days, 107 day, and 116 day relative maturity. So I think that's what it was. 102, 113, 114, 116. Those were the varieties, because I plan, if the weather is correct, I plan on getting this corn in the ground before the third week of May. The reason I say the third week of May is because I have to have this corn in the ground, growing, running, because in June I will not be here. I will be gone, and my father will be around. And, I don't think he will be spraying, but there's going to be rainy days in North Carolina, South Carolina, that will allow me to run home and spray, and then run back to the job that I have down there, if that's the case. But for the most part, in that time frame that I leave the corn to when I get back, I can also call in like FS or CPS to come in and spray it for me while I'm away. All I need is my dad or someone to scout the field and say, hey, this field needs blah, blah, blah. Now, I will be using Liberty Link in these fields, because we were, years ago, prior to 2014, we were starting to get some resistant mare's tail and some ragweed that wasn't dying quite the way I'd like it to. So because I'm not doing soybeans, I don't really care. And all of these varieties are Liberty Link. So that's cool. It's what I want. Because, yes, Liberty and Ignite are maybe a little more expensive than glyphosate. This Liberty is sulfosate, so it's all a salt. It's a type of salt. The dangers of Roundup and Liberty, I don't know that there is any. I know if I was living in the state of California, I would have goiters and cancers growing off of my dick, which, we know that all those idiots in California they got a label a chisel. This product is known in the state of California to cause cancer. A steel chisel. I bought a steel set of chisels, and it had a warning on it that those chisels would cause cancer in the state of California. Nowhere else in the world, but California has cancer. So, I don't know. That state needs to crack off the face of the earth. So, anyways, now, here's some of the other things that I like to, let me get my hat off because you're not able to see my lovely face. Here, maybe I can go gangsta style. Anyway, some of the other things that are important to me here on the East Coast in each one of these categories. Number one for me is ear set, where that ear is emerging from the stalk. Because I have a high deer pressure, the ear set is very, very important to me. I want that ear to emerge at least at the 4 foot height. That's where I want it. I don't want the ear to come on at 3 feet, 2.5, 3 feet, because if it does, that's perfect biting for deer. They'll just snatch that silk right off of there. Once they eat that silk, that stalk, that ear is just never going to form. It's not going to amount to anything. The other is drought tolerance. And root strength. Root strength and drought tolerance are very, very important for me here on the East Coast. So, gray leaf spot, don't really care too much about it. Never had it. Leaf blight, nothing. Stalk rot. We don't have stalk rot. I think those are attributed to irrigation. And the other one is where it is suitable to grow. Because here in New Jersey, we really don't irrigate. South Jersey, they irrigate, but up here, there's not enough water. Can't do it. So I look for a suitable, highly suitable for dryland variety, which is what this is. And I will go through. Stalk strength is a 4 on this particular one, which doesn't excite me. This will be the earliest variety that I plant, so I get it off the earliest. It's also the longest season. It's the 116 day. But the root strength is good. That's at an 8. The drought tolerance is a 7 out of 9. The plant height is a 9. This is a very tall variety. Why am I growing a tall variety, you might ask? Well, I'm going to let you know. Because of the composters. I'm in with a composter that requires corn stalks, corn fodder. So after the corn is taken off, I go in and I bale it. I want the most fodder that I can get my hands on. And that is that's a 9. The height of the ear is an 8. So it's a tall variety with a tall ear set. That's this 116 day. I'll just go on 2 of these so that you can see. Now the shortest season, which is 102 day corn, I don't like to grow any less than that. It's suitable for dryland. It's highly suitable for high yield environment. So I do have some higher yielding ground, and that's where I will be putting it. I know that I'm going to get criticized for growing a variety of corn that yields super high because it goes against everything that I've been saying about grow less. Well, you know what? I'm in New Jersey. What does it matter? What the hell does it matter? I don't know who that is, but it doesn't matter. Okay. Early planting in cold soils, highly suitable. This is heavy clay soil, cold, heavy clay soil. So that was another thing that was very important to me. And early planting in cold soils are suitable to highly suitable. And I wouldn't even attempt to purchase this product or this corn if it wasn't that way. Again, drought tolerance, an 8. Root strength, this is a little higher. It's a 6. Stalk strength, a 6. Stress emergence, a 5. It's middle of the road, a little bit on the upper side of the scale. Test weight is low. Honestly, don't care. I want a tall stalk. Plant height is a 7. So it is a upper scale height. Ear height, again, that's a 7 also. So, yes, it's pretty cool. It is pretty cool. It's going to work out very well. Very, very well. So this variety, well, here, I can go to the back of the thing. It's a lot easier. And these 4 different varieties that I have listed here, ear flex 6-7. I like a flexible ear because of the stony conditions. If you skip if you have a skip or a stalk that doesn't get deep enough into the soil, the stalks to the right and to the left or the forward and the back of that stalk will take up the difference in that mist row. So that's why I like a flex ear versus a fixed ear. Test weight, the lowest test weight one is actually that 102. I like to see a high test weight corn, and that's why I generally go with a full season. The full season varieties do have a higher test weight. So 56-pound test weight is what a bushel of corn should weigh. But we've had as high as 62 pounds. 62-pound test weight corn can go to the dog food plant. Yes, dog food, where they put corn in the dog food. And they like high test weight corn there for some silly reason. I don't know why, but that's just the way that it is. I would have better results with the longer season corns than I do with the short season corn. 102. I may even drop it, but I don't think I'm going to because I need it just in case things get a little delayed. Like if I do end up planting the first couple days of June, even though most of the time June planted corn where I'm at does extraordinarily well. But that's just the way it is. So that's what I base my corn picks on. Is stalk strength, stalk height, ear height, drought tolerance. The rest of it can be purchased. The leaf blight. It's fungicide. You can use fungicides, which we very rarely do, but I used enough Ridamil and Bravo in my day to control different types of fungus. And for the most part, if you have a good nutrient program for your corn as you're going in, you will definitely have a better tolerance to those simple diseases like leaf blight and gray spot and things like that. So yeah, you just really truly have to know your soil, know your ability to know your soil, know your nutrient level, not your ability. Your ability is you're only as good as your equipment is when you're planting corn. If you go out and your corn planter looks like it is 50 years old and hasn't seen a grease a greasable day, a day of grease in its life. That's about the stand you're going to get, something that you would have grown 50 years ago. You can pull a 50-year-old corn planter out of the shed, go over it, completely upgrade it with the latest and the greatest precision planting parts and pieces and upgrades from Shoops or even Deere. And or whoever, if you have a case, I just so happen to have John Deere planting equipment. I've used Keaton seed firmers and precision planting units for 20 years, up until 2014. And my 4-row corn planter, I should be able to plant 150 to 200 acres of corn without any problem there at all. It should be good. I should be able to do that in my sleep, and I may have some sleepless nights getting this stuff in because of, just because it has to be done, and my time is going to be very short. So I've planted corn in the dark using GPS and things like that, and I'm sure you guys have also. But those are just those are what I'm going to be putting in. If I do buy a Hubner variety, we grew Hubner seed in the past, and I've grown T.A. Dobler seed, and I think T.A. Dobler's out again. I don't know. Dobler's was purchased by DuPont, I think, and then T.A. Taylor Dobler, he started the company back up under his name, Taylor Dobler, T.A. Dobler, and I grew some of that stuff, but it was very, very, and that is grown right out here in Pennsylvania, but that is very, very difficult to get a variety that will have the high ear set. For some reason, people like a low ear set corn now. Maybe it's for standability, I don't know. I like the high ear set just because of deer. A fast-growing stalk with a tall ear set for a tall stalk for the fodder and a tall ear set for deer control, because they can't eat it. They just can't get that silk. And so there you go. And I am seeing less deer on the farm and other farms that I'm farming. I do know where there is larger herds of deer, but I will not be putting corn down there, in those areas, because it would be, let's say, suicide. Suicide. Yes, that would be the words for that. Suicide. So that's it. I'm gearing up now. I just need to get a hold of this Pioneer dealer, which is pretty easy to come by. I just give him a call and say, hey, this is what I need, and I put my money down on it, and then pay in the spring when I pick it up. So there you go. I got a friend, neighbor. He is going to be growing corn again also. For some reason, I don't know why he wants to grow corn. I think it's because he's going to be fertilizing corn the same way that I am with spent compost. I do have the analysis of the spent compost, and with 4 to 5 tons of spent compost to the acre and 20 to 30 units of nitrogen at the at planting, or even as because I'm going to work my soil. I'm not going to do no-till with this program. I want all of that nutrient in the ground when I plant the corn. And the only way, or the best way to do that, is to actually work it in. So chisel plow, spread it, chisel plow it, spread it, disc it, spray it, plant it, and that's how that'll go. Probably be using atrazine, and dual and atrazine was old technology. I don't know. Atrazine always worked pretty good here. I do have to look into different chemistries now, just because. For the pre-emergence herbicides, atrazine has always worked really well, dual and atrazine. And then for the recovery or for any emerging weeds before canopy, it will be Liberty. These are dual stacked Liberty Roundup Ready, but I'm not going to use Roundup. I'm going to use Liberty, because I know that Liberty will smoke them weeds. It'll smoke them. So what Liberty does, if you're not familiar with Liberty, or if you've never used Liberty, is Liberty kind of works like Gramoxone and Roundup at the same time. So when you spray Liberty down, you'll leave the field and you'll smell them weeds cooking, like Gramoxone or Paraquat. Remember Paraquat? If you're my age, you'll remember what Paraquat is. Gramoxone Extra or Gramoxone, and then Gramoxone Extra, Gramoxone XL, I think was one years ago. But Before it smokes those weeds, it translocates to the root zone and kills the weed from the root up. If you remember, gramoxone only is a burn down. So if you go through with gramoxone and you spray your corn, you're going to kill your corn anyway. It'll kill everything. It won't kill it. It'll kill your corn, but it won't kill the weeds because it doesn't do anything to the roots. And if the weed is burned off and then has the ability to come up from the roots like a grass would, you're going to have grass in your corn and you're going to have a problem. So that's why I like Liberty, because you spray it and by the next day it's yellowing and burning down like gramoxone would, but it's already translocated the sulfoxate down into the root zone, which kills the weeds from the bottom up, and that works really well. So if you've got any suggestions for chemistries and heavy clay soils, other than atrazine and dual or bicep, just leave them in the comments below, because I'd really like to explore some of those different chemistries. I have used IMI corns in the past, which, for Christ's sakes, I don't even know I can't remember the chemistries before. I will never use Basis or Basis Gold ever again, because this stuff does not break down in the soil here in the East Coast, and it cost me a year's worth of corn one time. Damn near went bankrupt over that stuff, and DuPont was like, oh well, too bad. It said on the label that in certain conditions it could impact your corn. So we ended up replanting IMI corn, which had a chemical tolerance to it, which a lot of younger generation kids don't know what IMI corn was. But you can look back in the history books, and it was kind of like let's see, what would it be? It was kind of like a competition for Roundup before Liberty was even a thing. You had Liberty, or you had Roundup Ready, and then IMI. And IMI was tolerant to different chemistries or stronger doses of conventional chemistries. So when we went with Basis Gold, the first year Basis Gold worked perfect. The second year we were like, this corn isn't doing too good. Maybe we should change varieties. On the third year, we were not going to use Basis Gold because we were told that that's what it was, that it was a chemical burn by the agronomist that came out. And we didn't use Basis Gold, but the corn came up and it just was curled over and never amounted to anything. We ended up replanting 100 of the 200 acres of corn that we had planted had planted in consecutive years. The corn that went behind soybeans wasn't a problem, but the 100 acres of corn that was corn on corn for a couple, 3 years, which is perfectly okay here in New Jersey. It always was. We never had any problems with disease or insect controls or anything like that. But it was Basis Gold, and we ended up buying IMI corn, putting it in, and chopping it for the cows. That's how many years ago that was. I stopped filling silo in 1995, and God, I miss that job. But anyway, I guess I've yammered on about corn and things like that long enough, and I hope you have a great day. I know it is Monday, and I am probably a little bit late getting this up because yesterday was Sunday, and that's when I usually do this. But thanks for watching. Please comment, rate, and subscribe for more on this channel and One Lonely Farmer. Thanks. Bye.